Hi, and welcome back to Going Ballistic. My name's Donna Carter, and I'm president and founder of goingballistic.org. Today, we have Sheriff Jeremy Shipley from Freestone County, as well as retired Texas Ranger Matt Coffin. So stay tuned. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Going Ballistic. Today, I'm Donna Carter, president and founder of goingballistic.org, and I am honored to have Sheriff Jeremy Shipley from Freestone County with us today, as well as Going Ballistic Vice President, retired Texas Ranger Matt Coffin. Hi, guys.
Morning.
Hi.
So we are doing our second episode of our podcast here at goingballistic.org, where we are dedicated to saving lives and protecting those who protect us every day. We are a nonprofit organization that was inspired by the shooting in Uvalde and a conversation that Matt and I had, alluding to some of the facts about what happened down there that made me go ballistic. And so, Matt, I'm going to let you just talk a little bit about that as well. And Jeremy, you can just kind of introduce yourself, let us know. And then we had a conversation. The first guy I went to was Sheriff Shipley, and he would be the first recipient of our first shield. So.
Well, thank you, Donna, and thanks, Sheriff, for being on with us today, because it's real important that that we have the input of the sheriffs and police chiefs out there, because they're going to be the ones that can benefit the most from all this. And last night I had a long conversation with one of the investigators down in Uvalde, and this was just a bad situation, as we all know, and it was made worse by the fact that in the critical minutes that counted, the officers in first responding did not have the equipment that they needed. And Sheriff, you can probably empathize with this, is that we as policemen over the years, we are, if nothing else, and we do a lot of things right, but even at the times when things don't go our way, we are the very first to study it, dissect it, and try to fix it.
Absolutely.
And that's just the way it is. Whether it's a police officer shooting, a police officer's been injured, whatever it is, we use that for training so that we can do it better the next time. And that's what this is all about. This is about kind of skirting the red tape of budgets, the red tape of the bidding process, the testing process. I mean, an organization like Going Ballistic can jump ahead, and we can impact in a positive way the officers and agencies in those with those officers and get them the equipment they need faster. Now we're kind of a turtle right now. We're going slow, but if we are successful in what we want to do here, then maybe we can really make an impact later on. And Sheriff, to tell our viewers, kind of in your own words, when it comes down to budgets, you're the chief administrator for your agency. When it comes down to budgets and having to go and ask for money and taxpayer money, In the where in the past in your career, where were shields in when it comes in line with gasoline and cars and other ammunition, all the things that run a sheriff's department?
Well, uh, I don't think it was on the list at all, to be perfectly honest with you. There's a lot that goes into running these agencies, and the money is dispersed in so many areas, and there's only so much money that you have to disperse in the first place. So, taking care of your employees, for one, which is my number one goal, because we can't accomplish anything without someone willing to do it. And then you got the bills and everything else that falls from there. And, nobody wants to talk about taxes, but that's how we pay for all of it. And so it's equipment usually is at the very bottom of our budget, and I don't like that, but that just seems to be how it falls year after year.
Sheriff, what you're saying is what I'm hearing from every administrator, whether it's a police chief, whether it's a sheriff, whether it's a division commander at some other agency. They're all saying the same thing: is that we have to pour the money into the areas that we need them the most, and that is something that we use on a daily basis. And I'm going to say right now, probably the biggest part of your budget, and besides the jail, let's cut the jail out of this. Yeah. Is going to be in vehicles. Let's say these vehicles are costing $50,000 these days, probably. And when you have to replace these vehicles from time to time, that's a big chunk of any department's budget. Even more especially one that is from one of our rural counties, and that's where Going Ballistic wants to concentrate first. I had a question. I kind of lost it. Donna, do you have anything?
Let me just add a question in, because I was thinking of it then, because part of when we started was, well, I asked you, Sheriff, if it were to happen tomorrow in Freestone, are we ready? And I believe part of the problem is that we have not acted as if that could happen, and therefore 32 years after Columbine, the same conversations around the same things are prominent, and nobody's asking new questions, like, for instance, if it were to happen, what can we do right now? Because this is something that I hope we'll be able to implement immediately. Like, as soon as we can get the money, we can get these shields. And then it's not all the solution, but it's just a piece of what I hope can move the ball forward. Yes,
and it's a big piece. These ballistic shields are not cheap. Some agencies need several. But we're trying to take the necessary steps to protect our community here, our different communities here in Freestone County. We've had training. We go through training continuously. I'm big on training here. And so we've gone through the alert trainings. I've personally had alert training 5 times. So we're taking the steps. We're working with the schools and going in and visiting the schools, making sure our agency, our deputies are more familiar with the layouts and the people working there. But equipment is a necessary need. It is needed. We can only do so much with our training, but when it comes to safety and actually going in and taking care of what we need to take care of, there is a lot of equipment that we still need.
You said something there, Sheriff, that you'd been through this 5 times, and I myself also have been through it several times. Admittedly, it's been a few years, and things could have changed some. That's one good thing about Alert. They're constantly evaluating and evolving, and I like that. But when I went through it, and I'm not going to give up any of the secrets of alert
Right.
because I don't want the bad guys to know it.
Right.
But there was no shield training. And I think it's because, not that alert doesn't have shields, they probably do, but they pretty much know that when the Freestone County Sheriff's Department shows up, that chances are they don't have a shield. So we're gonna train as if we don't have shields, because we probably don't.
Correct.
But in the stack, let's call it, as the 2, 3, or 4 man team enters into a building, they how much nicer would it be if the guy or girl at the front of the stack had a shield, because their techniques are great, but now Uvalde has taught us something else. Uvalde has taught us that it can go from an active shooter to possibly a hostage situation in a heartbeat. And but that doesn't mean that we have to stop or that we can stop. But we cannot expect our people to enter into a line of fire. And I'm not talking about the possible line of fire. I'm talking about actual gunfire without the proper equipment. We just can't. We provide ballistic armor for our officers to wear, but as you know, and I see you shaking your head, ballistic armor is not always rifle resistant. It may have a strike plate, but that's not going to prevent you from taking rounds that are incapacitating and in other areas. So, any thoughts on I mentioned I spoke to an investigator last night, and shields were in place early on at Uvalde, but they admitted that they were not rifle resistant. They were pistol only, which is probably something that might be applicable in a lot of traffic stops, let's say, or maybe even in a domestic dispute, but maybe not. But in this case, everyone knew he had a rifle, and they knew what they were going up against, but they had nothing to defend themselves. Sheriff, what do you think?
Well, I believe I agree with everything you just said. The more equipment that we have available to us that can take on the heavy artillery, because as you well know, doing this for so many years, we don't know what all they have when we show up. We may be told on the from our dispatch that no weapons are there, but when we get there, there's sure enough weapons there, and so we need whatever equipment is available that can take on any high artillery that may be possible.
Right, that's exactly right. You have to,
and when we
contingency.
And when we, we're blessed and lucky and thankful that we're going to be one of the first recipients of one of these shields. And as soon as we get it, we'll be looking into getting more training. That way we can start training and with the shield and how we need to proceed with that. That way our guys are a little bit better, not more knowledgeable and more comfortable with when and if and when we need to use it.
That's
and hopefully that's part of what Going Ballistic hopes to achieve, is to partner with someone who's willing to come alongside us as, and because the last thing we want is for you to get a shield and then it sit in the corner and never come out of the box. And then the call comes, because that's part of the problem too. All the things we're discussing, I don't understand how we haven't made it a priority to have at least one. And that's why when we started talking about doing it, and I talked to the police department, I talked to the sheriff's department, I mean, one per county. I think, and Matt has said, he thinks every first responding vehicle ought to have one, whether it's a fire truck or an ambulance or whatever. But we have to start somewhere. And, you know, and that I think is every county, and then just move out from there.
Well, I absolutely agree with you. We got to start somewhere, and goingballistic.org is obviously making that first step to do that. And I also agree that every vehicle should have one, and every vehicle hopefully will have one. Because I've already been in talks with my chief regarding the one that we're going to be receiving from you guys. And we're already trying to figure out a plan to make sure it's available each shift, who's putting it where, who's going to be carrying it. So we're already going to have some policy and procedures to make sure that it isn't a vehicle that is moving about the county and on each and every shift that we have daily.
That's
I
great.
love that.
That's
I mean,
great.
yeah,
Yeah, I love that.
preparation is key. Go ahead now.
No, I'm just saying, I like that. Whether it's a shift supervisor or whether it's a one of your special response type vehicles, that's the way it should be. I wish there could be more. I wish we could just write a check for all that we can and get everyone outfitted immediately. But like I said, we're kind of going to have to start slow and work up to that.
Well, one of the other pieces of equipment, and why because we were really focused on shields only until I found out about the helmets. And a helmet is not quite as expensive. And it is a piece of equipment that could be easily available to more officers. And I mean, let's be honest, getting shot in the head is always going to be, vital. I mean, it's going to be catastrophic.
Well, I have recently gotten a $27,000 bill for the helmets. So we have taken steps towards that, at least getting that part in little by little as we can. So our helmets, we have purchased those helmets. Good. We did get support from our commissioners regarding helmets and a few other items of equipment that we can use.
That's a great point you're making, is that after a catastrophic event, whether it was Columbine or whether it was Uvalde, in typical fashion, there's a lot of support almost immediately. And that's when sometimes the folks that make purchases will agree, but after a period of time, the tendency is to forget about that. And so that's another place where Going Ballistic can really excel, because we're not going to forget about it. We are not. Our interest is not going to wane on ballistic shields for first responders, and so hopefully there are a lot of county commissioners. Hopefully there are a lot of city council and mayors that are in agreement right now to come up with the money to buy shields, and that's great. But if later on other issues take precedent, we understand, and we will be there to fill a gap.
Yeah,
and that's great.
And my hope too is that we can stay non-political. This is not a political issue, so it shouldn't be controversial for anybody at any time of the year, or you know what I mean. We all know that there's a cycle that we run through, and that different things can become paramount to different individuals, but this should be something that everyone can get behind and agree that we need.
Absolutely. it only takes a split second for law enforcement to find themselves in a violent situation. And having ballistic shields provides law enforcement with what I believe has become necessary equipment in keeping our officers safe. So, what you guys are doing, we really appreciate it. I think it's an awesome organization that has been created to not only just talk about it and discuss it, but actually take steps to really solving a problem that we've realized that we've had. And it feels good for officers to know that, somebody's looking out for us while we're out trying to protect them. So that's a good feeling to have as well.
Well, thanks for saying that, Sheriff. It means a lot to us to hear you say that this is something that you appreciate and that you can really think that we can make an impact on. And I know Donna is excited about this. And Donna, you might want to tell our viewers how they can get involved.
We want to be all inclusive. So anybody that wants to join the fight, you just go to goingballistic.org and you can sign up there. And of course, sharing the website and the podcasts, and we are on social media and all of that as well. And so, of course, donations, it's 100% nonprofit, and there's nobody getting paid. We have no one on payroll. This is strictly a volunteer.
Wait a minute, you said what?
Unlike, the bureaucracy that would be the ones other than us to do it. And we've run into difficulties so far. I mean, the 501c3 process is getting harder and harder. And we have just kind of moved forward, despite hurdles and things like that. So, this is about saving lives. And whether it's someone in the classroom or someone in the squad car, or, you know what I mean? It really is, what do we need to do? What can we do right now? And, the ballistic equipment, the shields, the helmets, all of that. And I think you're right that having these conversations that are focused on solutions, that are saying this is a problem, this is something that can be done around this problem. And in future episodes, we're going to have some more specific shield information coming on our next podcast. And then we're going to really start to pick apart why we have so much of this happening and the active shooter situations and the things that we know. This is not a feelings kind of deal. We're going to look at stats because for the last 20 to 30 years, these numbers have gone up, and you can't argue with the numbers. And so please join us. And Sheriff, thank you so much for your time. And Matt, as always, thank you for your time and expertise. And
well, we appreciate, again, we appreciate all of you that are involved. And we also appreciate the fact that we're going to be one of the first recipients. So we're excited about that. And, it truly takes a team effort, and we're glad to have you guys part of our team. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
See y'all later.